What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are at Chapman's Auto Performance here in Colorado. Now the truck is very out of its element in this place. They do some crazy builds. We're talking 1,000+ horsepower builds, twin turbo R8s with underground kits, sheepy race kits. They've got a GT350 in right now. They've got this thing with nitrous express, all sorts of goodies. I think he's gonna probably put out 1,000 horse. They got a Corvette on the dyno right now, but we've also got Dennis from D3 Performance here who flew in from Texas to tune the Harrop Supercharger. So we're gonna get a baseline real quick and then get stock numbers, and then we're gonna install the Supercharger at True Automotive, come back, Dennis is gonna tune it, throw it back on the dyno, and see what kind of performance gain we can get out of it. All right, the truck is now on the dyno. Cody, the owner of Chapman's Auto Performance, is getting it all strapped down so it hopefully doesn't go anywhere under load. Got the rear all strapped in, ready to go. We're gonna see what this thing puts out. Probably not much. I'm gonna guess like 170 to the wheels, maybe 180. We'll find out. Baselines, we have 197.5 and 198 horsepower to the wheels, 222, 221 foot-pounds of torque to the wheels as well. So 529 gears do help the truck with a lot of weight, but now we're gonna head over to True Automotive and get this Supercharger installed and see what we get. So let's talk performance numbers. So our first run, our baseline, no supercharger, it actually had a cold air intake at the time. Our highest was 198 horsepower to the rear wheels and 222.4 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, that's without the Harrop Supercharger. Throw the Supercharger on. This is stage one, so factory intake box and stage one pulleys and belts. Again, we are at elevation about 5,800 feet. We are in Colorado, and the truck is sitting on 35s. Again, went from 198 and 222 up to 275 horsepower to the rear wheels, so more than a stock Tacoma makes to the crank, and 270 foot-pounds of torque to the rear wheels. Again, 35-inch tires, bead locks, we're fighting elevation. Overall, this kit has provided us a 38 to 40% gain over our stock baseline numbers with the same wheels and tires, same setup. So I mean, a lot of guys will say, you know, spending $5,000 to whatever $1,000 for a jump of 75 horsepower isn't a lot. But you have to look at it in a way of, this is how much the truck is actually changing, right? You can look at it as $5,000 or $7,000 for a 75 horsepower gain and 50 foot-pounds of torque gain to the rear wheels, or you can look at it as $5,000 to $7,000, $8,000, and you've got a 40% increase in power in your truck. My truck with 35 steel armor, steel bumper, winch, and all that is now faster than a stock Tacoma off the lot, which is a huge improvement. I've actually got Dennis here from D3 Performance, and he's gonna kind of talk us through the changes that he had to make this Supercharger put out this power. We got about 5 pounds of boost out of it, again, at elevation. But yeah, let's let Dennis talk. So this is Dennis from D3 Performance, League, Texas. We're gonna have him kind of talk about what D3 Performance really specializes in. Obviously, Toyotas, and making Toyotas have more power, right? And it's not just more power, it's reliable power. I was super nervous. I told you, man, I don't know about adding boost to this truck. I know they don't like boost, but then you kind of explain the difference between supercharger boost and turbo boost. And these, he said it's still reliable, so I trust him. I romped on it for a little bit, but yeah, if you want to talk about what you guys really do at D3 Performance and what we had to do to get the Tacoma dialed in with this new Harrop.
Okay, so when it came to this particular truck, one of the things that we were most worried about was it being at altitude. All of our tuning that we do is, of course, in League City, Houston, Texas area, and we're at sea level. So things act different when they're a mile high. Another thing that I wanted to address was the transmission shifting and things like that. Just the overall drivability of the truck. So the one that we did in Houston was a manual transmission. So we didn't really get to see how the transmission was going to act. So that was a major reason why we made the trip out here, just to get on this truck and you know, get a good idea of what is going to happen, because we had no idea. Great thing is it all went really well.
Surprisingly.
No, it was I couldn't believe how well the tune transferred over. We didn't have to make a whole bunch of changes to the engine tune, just a few little tiny bits and pieces here and there just to kind of customize it to the truck. Yeah, 38% gain over stock is...
and that's what we were nervous about too.
Yeah.
We're like, being at altitude, we don't know if we're going to get the same, you know, performance gain that they got at sea level. And when they got on the dyno today and we saw 38, 39%, man, me as the truck owner, I was stoked because this thing actually has power. And we took it out. You let me romp on it. He said, dude, you're good. You're safe. Just let it eat. And it's quicker than a stock Tacoma, even though it weighs a hell of a lot more than a stock Tacoma, and it's on 35-inch tires with bead locks and all that. Now, I will say, I have some buddies that have, no, I don't want to bash anyone, but the Magnuson Supercharger, and like you said, dialing in the transmission, that's one of the things that I hear from those guys that say, man, it makes power, but it doesn't shift nicely.
Yeah, so I've actually put a few of those on my dyno. I didn't tune them. There's a big difference in just the overall power curve, and you know, if you can go online and find a Magnuson graph and look at it, and you can look at our graph and you can just see the difference. And it's really not the supercharger. I mean, the supercharger is great.
It's the tune.
It's just the tune. Yeah.
Tune. That's the biggest downfall I hear is the tune that comes out of the box is just meh. You know?
And then it's, you know, I don't know if their idea was, you know, hey, let's get a base tune and then, you know, have them get it at a dyno shop and custom tune it. That may have been the thought. I don't know, but the tune that we did on this truck, the original truck that we tuned, I mean, I probably spent almost a month tuning it, getting the power where I wanted, fixing the curves, test driving, back on the dyno, test driving, back on the dyno.
He had 3 days of this one.
Yeah, well, most of the work was done.
Yeah.
You know, it was just refinement and transmission. Just really happy how it all went, and the graphs look great. I'm just totally happy with the way everything moved right over to another truck, and it just proves that, you know, this tune can go on your truck, it can go on anyone's truck, and it will work.
Dude, I'm super surprised. One of the things I was nervous about was reliability, but then after hearing all the transmission shifting issues with other competitors, chargers and blowers and stuff, I was nervous that this was going to be, you know, somewhat the same because the truck's not made to have power, right? Yeah. But when I test drove it, it literally shifted like factory. It shifted like a Tacoma would off of the lot. It was smooth, it was consistent. The throttle response tuning you did is great. I don't have a dead spot in the beginning of the throttle. But I gotta say, shout out to these guys from D3. They know what the hell they're doing with Toyotas. That's what they specialize in. So if you guys have a Toyota and you want to get more power out of it and you're in Texas, go to League Texas, go to D3 Performance. They tune anything from Siennas to Tacomas to whatever, right?
Most any later model Toyota and Lexus vehicle. So, you know, we do the IS300s. We get the 350 power out of the IS300s. There's a whole lot of them that we do. We sell the tuners on our website. That's the easiest way to get our tune. You just buy it. It goes right to your house. You plug it in, follow the instructions, and about 6 minutes later, you're tuned.
I've never done it. They sent me a tuner, sent me a stock file, dyno file. I did it. If I can do it, you guys can do it. Dennis, appreciate you coming out, man.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Truck's a blast to drive now. It's not a slug. So check these guys out. So there you guys have it. That's the performance gain you're going to get out of the Harrop Supercharger. Elevation to sea level, you're looking at about a 40% gain, which is incredible. It's honestly like a whole new truck. It actually takes off, it accelerates and keeps driving through RPMs. I want to shout out to True Automotive for installing the Supercharger, D3 Performance from flying out from Texas to get this thing tuned and dialed in for the 529 Yukon gears and the 35-inch tires. Chapman's Auto Performance for letting us use their dyno and actually getting to dial it in on the dyno and in the street and keeping the truck here overnight for the last couple of nights. And of course, Harrop and Eaton, thank you for supplying the Supercharger. Can't wait to be in your guys' booth at SEMA. If you're gonna be at SEMA, stop by the Eaton booth and say hi. Until next time, if you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want some Dark Yoda merch, visit the website down in my link down below. Until next time, peace.